Welcome to the Mayhem Performance Coaching Podcast. This is actually something cool we're doing now for the first time. I'm interviewing one of our clients and athletes. He's actually my client, my friend, my pride. We've been working together for a little over a year, like a year and 3 months. So welcome, Charlie.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
So where did you come from yesterday? Where did you drive from to get here?
Drove from Lawrenceville, Illinois. So it's southern Illinois, about 6 hours south of Chicago. So it was about a 5-hour drive here.
Cool. And you're going to join us for the Mayhem Performance Camp this weekend.
Yes.
Be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
If we just start a little bit with some of your wins, training wins since we started working together.
Most recently, we just finished a 10-week squat cycle. Mm-hmm. And in that 10 weeks, we put 45 pounds in my back squat, which was, huge. My snatch went up in that same period. It went up about 40 pounds. Then deadlift, it went up significantly too, probably 50 pounds. And on top of that, skill works just, went out the roof. Mm-hmm. Ring muscle ups went from none to, I think the other day I got 8. And that was under fatigue, so that was pretty cool.
Super cool.
Handstand walks, I'm doing obstacles now, which is really fun.
Handstand push-ups?
Yeah, handstand push-ups, strict ones. I can do a max set of like 15 to 20 now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's amazing progress in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the most contributing to you getting all these big achievements?
Probably a lot of it's the programming, you working around like my weaknesses and stuff. Like my cardio's always been pretty good. So, we kind of stay away from the engine work a little bit, which I kind of, argue with sometimes. And just like focusing on those weaknesses and like, really putting in the work on like the squats. That cycle was harsh.
Yeah.
And just a lot of it's eating enough, resting enough. Just being really strategic about things.
Sure. Because before Mayhem Performance Coaching, you hadn't really been following a set program or...
No, it was kind of like making my own programming, plus following just like the Mayhem competitor program, like the just general programming, and doing class and running a lot. Yeah. A little bit of bodybuilding. I was all over the place.
Doing a whole lot of stuff in one day.
Yep.
Okay. But if we kind of get to know you on like a deeper level and just take it back to your upbringing, like where did you grow up? And
I grew up in Lawrenceville. I was born in Washington State, but I was raised in Lawrenceville. And then as far as like athletic career, wrestling was my whole life. I wrestled for 10 years. Was pretty successful at it, went to state. And that's probably where like my discipline came from as far as training, just loving to train. That's, if it was wrestling season, that's what I was doing. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
My grades were good, and as long as my grades were good, my parents just let me, focus on wrestling. Mm-hmm. But also that contributed to a little bit of eating issues.
Sure. Like mentally?
Mentally. You have to make weight, and that was more stress on myself. It wasn't forced on me or anything, but I knew what weight class was the toughest, and that's what I wanted to be in. So I made sure I made weight. Mm-hmm. Then I dealt with some injuries wrestling, and that was probably my first hurdles as far as having to adapt. Yeah.
So how old were you when you got injured?
My whole junior and senior year, I was dealing with shoulder separations. Mm-hmm. had a broken foot during that time period. Separated everything in my other foot.
Wow.
I spent half a year in a moon boot. I just taped it up for wrestling matches.
Oh gosh. So you got injured, and then did you have surgery or?
Yeah, I had surgery on my shoulder when I was 19. I finished off the separation snowboarding. Just landed on it wrong, and it just finished it off.
So this was high school.
Yeah.
And did you have to like stop doing sports after this, or?
Yeah, surgery kind of put a halt on everything. I was racing motorcycles then, messing around with MMA a little bit. It's when it first was getting popular, and it put a halt to everything for probably about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed my life drastically.
Mm-hmm. In what way did it change your life?
Around then I started kind of making some bad choices, hanging out with the wrong people. I didn't have a positive outlet for my emotions or just energy in general.
Mm-hmm.
I started using drugs and going down a really dark path with that.
Okay. So do you think it was like a combination of you not being able to train and then having to kind of really this drastic change in your life? Maybe pain medicine that you had to take?
Yeah,
or?
pain medicine definitely contributed a little bit. A lot of it was just having that downtime and not knowing how to deal with it.
Okay.
I mean, my whole life, all I've known is competition and competing and working towards something, and just kind of testing my limits on what I can do.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get any help with that? Like, talk about it?
A little bit here and there, but like the resources at home they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not enough. A lot of it's funding and just, I mean, at most you might get sent to like a 90-day rehab, and that's just not enough.
Sure. So you were on your own a bit.
Yeah.
And then what happened? You say you got out of like your path a little bit.
Yeah, I was in college, doing the whole partying thing and, the quote unquote normal college life.
Sure.
And that's when I started tattooing around that time.
Because you're a tattoo artist.
Yes. Tattoo artist is my job. And really with that industry, you gotta watch who you're around for sure. Mm-hmm. But I just kept making, bad choices. I'd get clean, and then I'd start using again, and it was just an endless cycle. Mm-hmm. And eventually I got to where like I could move a little bit, and I started running a little bit, and I got a little taste for fitness again.
Okay. While you were like deep in doing drugs?
I'd get sober and then like be like, man, I want to run and work out and lift again, and then it just, it's an endless cycle.
Yeah, but deep down it was something that you really wanted to, and the demons were just not dealt with, I guess. So how long did this period kind of last for you?
I was using heavy for about 6 years probably. Wow. And like I dialed it down a little bit when like my daughter's mom was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And then we lived in Carbondale, down south a little farther than where I grew up, and was away from, all the bad people and, the bad environment and stuff. And then we moved back, and it took off worse than ever.
Okay. But at this time, your daughter had already been born?
Yeah.
And were you living with her at the time?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I opened my own tattoo shop, like, right when she was born. Mm-hmm. And just the endless hours and, there was a need to work more than necessary, and that kind of definitely caused an increase in drug use.
Yeah. So were you using every day?
Yeah.
So then you were taking something to get like up and get the energy, and then something.
Yep. Yeah, I was addicted to meth. That was, generally my drug of choice, and then stuff to come down and then back up and down and up.
Did your the mom of your daughter, did she know about it?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely signs
Mm-hmm.
that I think were obvious, but whether she did or not, I'm not sure. And then once it got really bad, me and her split up,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got worse. So I just didn't have good coping skills, and fitness wasn't there for me right then.
Yeah. Didn't have space for it.
Yeah, just.
How old is your daughter today?
She's 9.
Okay. And then you got into the wrong group of people, or
Yeah, sorta. I was just trying to, kind of cover up all the demons with drug use, and it got to where it was just uncontrollable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then that led to me getting in trouble with the cops, and eventually going to prison.
Because I remember I had been coaching you for about 3 months, and then we had a camp, and I think you were kind of waiting to meet me in person to tell me about it. Because I remember our first one-on-one meeting in person, that you kind of snuck that in there, and I was like, oh wow, okay, interesting. So I just felt like it would be important for people to hear your story, and just maybe someone that's going through something maybe similar or not similar, or has some demons, but I thought it would be great to.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest obstacle in my life I've dealt with. And I firmly believe that if I can get through it, anybody can.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out how to get through it.
Yeah.
That monster is always going to be there. It's just how you feed it.
That's so powerful, and I think that's why I just care about your story and your path so much, and I'm so excited and thankful to be a small part of your journey, and that our paths led together.
Yes.
But if we go back again, so you got in trouble and went to prison. What year is this?
It was, I'll say, around 2019.
And then you got locked up for how long?
About 3 years.
Okay. Wow. If I can ask you just about a day in prison, what was this like?
Well, we'll skip to regular prison, because county and receiving is a lot different.
Okay.
It's in receiving, you're stuck in a cell for basically 5 days a week, 24/7. And you get out for yard for an hour twice a week.
Wow.
So, but where I spent the most time, wake up, breakfast is at about 4:30. Then you'd have a chance to go to yard for an hour, and then we'd have group therapy, and then lunch, and then yard again, and then group therapy again, and then gym time, and then sleep.
Okay.
So that was almost every day.
Wow. And you told me before that the gym time was kind of where you found your passion again for fitness.
It's from the first day I got there, it's, every day I was in the yard lifting weights, running. I met some good people there.
And you obviously had to get sober.
Yes. Yep. When I was in county, I made the decision. I was like, this ain't for me. So right then I was like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to clean up, get things right.
So that was just something that came to you on your own,
Yeah, it was kind of an epiphany. And honestly, I sat down, I prayed about it a lot. Read some books, and just had this moment where I was like, things have to change.
Yeah. So you used your religion as well every day in there.
Yeah, and I think that day it changed. That I actually did a bunch of air squats and burpees that day before I even knew what CrossFit was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're in prison. You don't even know what CrossFit is. When do you find CrossFit? Like,
I didn't know like what CrossFit specifically was until I got home. I was doing a lot of running and just like making up my own workouts, which I was doing like dumbbell snatches and rowing and bench press, and I had no clue what I was doing. And then this older lady at the gym I was going to came up to me. She's like, "You need to go check out the CrossFit gym." I was like, "What do you mean?"
what's this?
She's like, "That's what you're doing." She's like, "You love it there." And it took probably 6 months for me to go check it out. And I went and did a partner workout and fell in love right then.
Do you remember what it was?
I think it was, well, the first workout I remember was a 9/11 workout, a tribute workout with the 2001 meter row, and it had like thrusters and rope climbs in it.
Oh, cool.
And I couldn't rope climb correctly yet, so all of them were legless, and I blew up so bad.
Gosh.
It was horrible.
Wow. Did you have training partners like in prison?
Yeah. Like the guy that really got me lifting heavy, and he was on me, eat all the food you can, lift as heavy as you can.
Yeah.
I trained with him almost every day.
Yeah.
And he was a strong little dude, like 5'1", squatting 600 pounds.
Wow.
Just going up, making the big guys look really bad.
Are you still in contact with him?
Yeah. Yep. I talk to him probably at least once a month. So he's doing really good too. He's helping run a golf course and works for an engineering company.
Cool. Like if you look back on all this, I mean, this is a lot. Is there anything you would want to go back and change, or something you regret? Or
I don't regret anything. I mean, all of it brought me to where I am today. And like honestly, 90% of the days I'm happier than I've ever been.
Wow.
So I mean, I get to train every day. I help take care of my grandma and my uncle, so I see them every day. I mean, I'm in a good place.
So you can say in a way that prison kind of saved your life in a way.
It did. 100% saved my life. There's no question about it.
All right, so then this was during COVID, right?
Yes.
So you were in prison during COVID. Oh my gosh. COVID was bad enough. Not in prison. I can't imagine what it's like.
Well, on the upside, we didn't have to go to group during COVID.
Sure.
So that was nice.
But then you get out of prison. How long were you there?
About 3 years. So when I got home, it was right towards the end of COVID. People were actually like allowed to, I guess, get out and do stuff. I mean, I don't know how like restricted it was, but like first thing I did, went to the mall to get some clothes.
Yeah.
And everybody was wearing masks and like it was like they'd never been.
Did you wear masks in prison as well?
Yeah, we got in trouble if we didn't, which was
Oh.
silly because we lived together.
Do you get any like support from someone once you're out? Like, is there resources for
I mean, my family supported me like like crazy. I mean, when you get out, you're on parole. I mean, there's very little resources. You're required to do some counseling and stuff, but it's nothing significant.
What do you feel like has helped you the most? Like, want to be on the right path and like not go down there again on this road? And
that period of my life was the scariest thing I've ever been through. I mean, you never know which time's gonna be your last.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're, I mean, anytime you use it could be, that could be it.
Yeah.
So that and just being sick all the time and just it's a constant, life of chaos.
But then you kind of start your fitness journey in a way after you got let out, but you still had some demons.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of it was like dealing with overtraining.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, I would have trained 24 hours a day every day, and was not eating enough to support that.
Yeah.
And within 3 months of getting out, I ran a half marathon,
Mm-hmm.
and like in there wasn't running but maybe a mile or two a day, and was eating. When I got home, I was eating like 800 calories a day.
Yeah.
And got hurt real quick.
Yeah. Body says stop.
Yeah.
And how did you kind of start with Mayhem, or like seeing our stuff? And
I was taking classes here and there and realized real quick that I wanted more. And like I love to train by myself, and empty gym's just like my happy place.
Yeah.
And I started like looking around at programming and stuff online, and just Mayhem, just the faith and fitness and family and service, and that really spoke to me. And I liked that they had 2-a-days.
Yeah.
So that made me really happy.
So you were following the Mayhem athlete track
Yes.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I started following the games and semifinals track first, just scaling the weights.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah, that's right.
'cause it's more volume.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
But then you started working with me,
Yeah.
Mayhem Performance Coaching. I just believe our paths were meant to be
Mm-hmm.
crossed.
Yeah.
Like it's been really a learning experience for me just as much as for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a challenge, but it's also been so beautiful to see you open up to me and like trust me, that I want the best for you. And, what do you feel like? Because as you say, you were under eating, overtraining. What do you feel like? What tools have you used to just trust me and that it's okay? Like what I'm giving you is the right thing.
At first, like when we first started working together, I was still doing like quite a bit of my own thing too.
I know.
And I was running into a wall, like still not eating enough.
Yeah.
And eventually I was just like, well, let's just try her way.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were sick a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always a little bit something going on. I mean, I knew obviously you were doing something on the side a little bit. So I had to also learn how to, like, what things to say to you and how much to give, how hard to be on you as well. But, I mean, it's just been such a great path and journey, and just to watch you grow so much, not only like your PRs that we talked about in the beginning, like amazing, but for me, it's also just your mentality and to be okay to listen to the body. Like, if you feel something is off with your shoulder, just to be able to not go in and train that day, or just do like a zone 2 piece.
And a big thing, like working with you, is like, as soon as that happens, I can message you.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, as soon as like something starts hurting, I'm kind of frantic, because like the only thing I'm worried about is being able to train.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Yeah.
So I can still like move and everything, and still let it heal.
Yeah.
And I'll just have to like just sit back and wait, because that just sounds miserable to me.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to hear it from someone else.
Yeah.
Like, you're good. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just do this today. Get back to it again. Are there any tools like that you used, that you use in your mind when, let's say, because I think, or I know that you still sometimes, when I'm having you maybe up the carbs a little bit, it's still a little bit hard for you mentally. But are there any tools like you use, or?
The big thing, like last camp, you wanted me to up to 400 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm still struggling to hit that number. But like, I remember I messaged you one day and I was like, I don't care what it takes. We're going to push and I want to compete at the highest level I can.
Yeah.
And, in my head, I was like, do I want to worry about, looking dry and lean and like, and cutting carbs and like being underfueled and not being able to push every day?
Yeah.
Or do I want to eat and
Yeah.
grow and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, improve
Mm-hmm.
and hit those numbers?
Yeah. So instead of body image, you're looking at what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I did that, like, my numbers have just been skyrocketing. Even like easy pace on the Echo, the wattages like was my hard pace before.
Yeah.
Like, just, you know, all the numbers are way different.
Yeah. And you contribute that to just the balance of everything,
Mm-hmm.
like the not overtraining, like actually recovering and refueling.
Yeah, and like you've kept the volume pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and I think you've, like, on days where you're like, you probably don't need as much volume, you put enough stuff in there that's like extra accessory work to where I'm like, I stay busy.
Yeah. It makes your mind feel at
It
ease.
keeps my mind going.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. Like, I know now how I can, like, keep you happy, keep you busy, but have it not too much as
Yeah,
well.
because if I'm not in the gym, I'm idle, and, you know, like, just that idle dead time, it scares me.
Yeah.
'Cause, you
Yeah.
know, that's when bad things happen.
In your mind.
Yeah.
So when that happens, do you then go back to your using days or in your
Like,
mind?
before, that's when I would use.
Yeah.
So, like, dead time. That, or, you know, I would use if I had a bunch to do and didn't want to sleep.
Yeah.
Or just bored, or just idle time, or it's just better for me just to keep moving.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like Mayhem performance coaching is different from following like the Mayhem athlete track?
It's personalized. It's a lot. I mean, you know, like, I know you and you know me, and it's, you know, you build a bond and friendship, and I mean, essentially you grow together.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, no matter what, like, competitions, like, we're doing qualifiers right now, I know that you have my back, and, you know, I know that you're gonna have strategies for me, and, you know, I mean, there's workouts I would redo them 3 times, 4 times if, you know, if you weren't there to be like, no, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You text me, you think I should redo it? I'm like, no, you're fine. You're like, oh, okay.
I didn't want to redo that one at all.
What are your goals in the sport?
I want to get to the highest level of competition I possibly can.
How old are you?
I will be 35 this year, so Masters games would be awesome.
Yeah.
So last year I made it to quarterfinals, did pretty good. In the Open, I went from like the 40-something percentile to like the top 10%.
Yeah.
So since we've been working together,
Mm-hmm.
so huge, crazy jump.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amazing.
yeah,
It's been like a movie watching your journey. Like, for me, I mean, I'm part of the movie, but it's still just like, I'm always like jaw dropping. Just, it's really cool. Is there anything you would go back and tell yourself, like, in your darkest moment? Like, is there something you would say to yourself?
just so it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Just, you know, stay strong and just grind through it.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of look at it like the worst freaking chipper workout you've ever done. And that's, you know,
7-year long.
yeah,
chipper
like,
work.
it's horrible starting out. The middle sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get to the end, like, you start to see the light, and you're like, okay, it's gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's exactly what it's like.
Mm-hmm. And how has your faith helped you in all this?
My faith has been a big part. Just trusting in God, and like, all through prison, that was just, I mean, that was my foundation. Like, it's still a big part of my life. Like, I still have bad days, and anytime I do, that's exactly where I go.
Yeah.
It's the first place I go. You know, pray and then go to the gym.
Yeah.
So
Throw down.
yeah.
Is there anything you would like give a person that's maybe struggling or having a hard time with, I don't know, either addiction or some demons? Like, any tips you could give them?
Honestly, nowadays, the first thing I would recommend is just walk into a CrossFit gym and do class and just keep going back.
Yeah.
Talk to a coach, let them know what's up.
Yeah. Find a community, find.
I've not ran into a single CrossFit coach that has been like unfriendly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all welcoming, no matter what's going on. Like when I'm traveling, you know, it's so easy to find somewhere to work out. It's just like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm from out of town. I just need somewhere to train. That's it. And you're like, come on by.
Cool. I'm curious to know, like, was there any, like, when you started working with me, like we talked about, you're a little bit like doing stuff on the side. Is there a time where you remember, like, oh, I can really like trust in her and she's gonna like look out after me?
I know a big turning point was the open. Because like it was only my second open, but going into it, like I saw the workouts, I was like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And like when I first started CrossFit, I couldn't do a 95-pound thruster.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't. I would cherry pick those workouts every time.
Yeah.
And we had heavy thrusters in the open, and that was one I did really well at. And like that's when I really saw stuff was working, just because I mean those numbers don't lie.
Super cool. Yeah, I just want to thank you for just being you and being so open about your story. And I'm just so thankful to be a small part of your journey, or a big part.
You're a big part for sure.
Like, I'm just so proud of you every day. Like, I just want to put you all over. I want everybody to know everything about you. So thank you so much for being here and telling us your story. Anything else you want to tell us, or?
I'm just excited to see where things go.
Yeah.
Like we just started a new strength cycle, which is exciting. Doing Wadapalooza and qualifiers. Those are fun.
Yeah.
And pretty excited to see what we're going to do at camp.
Yes. That'd be awesome. Cool. I just want to thank you for being here again.
Thank you.
For opening up this big story for us. I'm hoping can inspire some people. Definitely inspire me. And yeah, I'm just honored to be your coach and your friend.
I appreciate it.